Reba McEntire is more than just a country music superstar, she's an icon. From her humble beginnings on an Oklahoma ranch to becoming one of the best-selling female country artists of all time, Reba's journey is a story of resilience, talent, and determination. With over 75 million records sold, multiple Grammy Awards, and a career spanning music, television, and Broadway, she has cemented her place in entertainment history. But behind the success lies a story filled with personal struggles, heartbreak, and a relentless fight to stay on top. This is the incredible rise of the Queen of Country, Reba McEntire. Reba Nell McEntire was born on March 28, 1955 in McAlester, Oklahoma, but spent most of her childhood on a ranch in Chalky, a small rural town that deeply influenced her upbringing. She was the third of 4 children born to Clark and Jacqueline McEntire, a family with deep roots in both rodeo and music. Her father, Clark McEntire, was a highly respected rodeo cowboy who won the World Champion Steer Roper title 3 times, in 1957, 1958, and 1961. Her grandfather, John Wesley McEntire, had also made a name for himself in the rodeo world, winning the same title in 1934. Growing up in a family so closely tied to the rodeo lifestyle, Reba and her siblings were immersed in it from an early age, spending much of their time helping with cattle and other ranch duties. Despite the rough and tumble world of rodeo that surrounded her, music was always present in Reba's life, thanks to her mother, Jacqueline. Jacqueline had once dreamed of becoming a country singer, but circumstances led her to a career as a public school teacher, librarian, and secretary instead. However, her passion for music never faded, and she made sure to pass it down to her children. During long car rides to rodeo events, Jacqueline taught her children to sing in harmony, encouraging them to develop their musical talents. Reba would later recall that these early experiences with her mother's teaching played a crucial role in shaping her love for music. Life on the McEntire Ranch was not easy. The children were expected to contribute to the daily operations of the cattle ranch, helping with everything from feeding the animals to more physically demanding tasks like castrating bulls and administering medicine to livestock. Before and after school, they worked hard alongside their parents, instilling in them a strong sense of responsibility and discipline. Reba herself developed a keen interest in barrel racing and trained to become a competitive rider. But even as she competed in rodeo events, music continued to call to her. Reba's early performances began in elementary school, where she sang "Away in a Manger" at a Christmas pageant when she was just in the 1st grade. By the 5th grade, she had joined the 4-H club and won her first singing competition with a performance of "My Sweet Little Alice Blue Gown." In addition to singing, Reba was an active student who played basketball, ran track, and attended summer basketball camps. She also learned to play the piano and guitar, further expanding her musical skills. As she entered high school, her passion for music grew stronger. Along with her siblings, Reba formed a musical trio called the Singing McEntires, with the group performing at local rodeos, fairs, and other community events. They eventually recorded a tribute song for their grandfather called "The Ballad of John McEntire," which was released as a small regional single. Over time, their performances became more frequent, and they rebranded as the Kiowa High School Cowboy Band, expanding their reach to bars and dance halls in nearby Oklahoma City. Performing late into the night and waking up early for school was exhausting, but Reba embraced the experience, knowing that music was becoming more than just a hobby. Although she was passionate about singing, Reba initially did not consider it a viable career. After graduating from Kiowa High School in 1973, she enrolled at Southeastern Oklahoma State University, majoring in elementary education with a minor in music. Following in her mother's footsteps, she planned to become a teacher while continuing to sing at local events. Even during her college years, she remained closely connected to her family's ranch, helping out whenever she could. In 1974, fate intervened when Reba's father encouraged her to accept an opportunity to sing the Star-Spangled Banner at the National Finals Rodeo in Oklahoma City. It was there that country singer Red Stigall heard her perform and was immediately impressed by her voice. Recognizing her potential, he invited her and her family to a hotel gathering where she performed an a cappella rendition of Dolly Parton's Joshua. At that moment, Stigall knew Reba had something special. Jacqueline McEntire, who had always dreamed of seeing her children succeed in music, boldly asked Stigall if he could help all three of her children get a recording contract. However, after returning to Nashville, Stigall had to break the news. "I can't take all three, but I could take Reba. She's got something a little different." Though initially hesitant about pursuing a music career, Reba's mother encouraged her to take a chance. As they drove toward Nashville to record a demo tape, Reba recalled making excuses to stop along the way, reluctant to take the leap into the unknown. Sensing her daughter's fear, Jacqueline turned to her and said, "Now, Reba, let me tell you something. If you don't want to go to Nashville, we don't have to do this, but I'm living all my dreams through you." That conversation changed everything. Reba decided to move forward with the opportunity, and in March 1975, she recorded a demo tape in Nashville under Stigall's guidance. The tape landed in the hands of Glenn Keener, a representative at Polygram/Mercury Records. Keener was considering 2 female artists at the time, but when the label informed him that he could only sign one, he chose Reba. That decision marked the beginning of what would become one of the most legendary careers in country music. After signing her first recording contract with Polygram/Mercury Records in November 1975, Reba McEntire officially stepped into the world of country music. She recorded her first songs for the label in January 1976, working with producer Glenn Keener, who placed her voice against a countrypolitan-style arrangement featuring orchestral string sections. However, her early singles struggled to gain traction. Her debut release, "I Don't Want to Be a One-Night Stand," barely made an impact, peaking at number 88 on the Billboard Hot Country Songs chart in May 1976. Her next 2 singles, "There's Nothing Like the Love," "Between a Woman and Man," and "Glad I Waited Just for You," also failed to chart significantly. Despite the underwhelming start, Mercury released her self-titled debut album, Reba McEntire, in 1977. Critics compared her style to established country crossover artists like Barbara Mandrell and Tammy Wynette, highlighting her smooth vocals and polished sound. During this period, Reba also began touring extensively, performing at small venues and fairs to build her reputation. However, she didn't have a band of her own yet, so she often relied on house bands at each venue to back her performances. In some cases, these bands were unfamiliar with country music, leaving Reba to fill time on stage by telling jokes and entertaining the audience in other ways, a skill that would later contribute to her engaging stage presence. In 1978, Reba's career began to gain momentum. She collaborated with country artist Jackie Ward on a double-sided single featuring "I'd Really Love to See You Tonight" and "Three Sheets in the Wind," which became her first top 20 hit on the country charts. That same year, when her producer Glenn Keener left Mercury, she was assigned to Jerry Kennedy, a well-respected producer who would play a key role in her early sound development. Under Kennedy's direction, Reba released her second studio album, Out of a Dream, in 1979. The album marked a turning point in her career, featuring a cover of Patsy Cline's Sweet Dreams, which became her first solo top 20 hit. The album also produced 4 additional top 40 singles, proving that Reba was beginning to find her footing in the industry. By 1980, Reba had formed her own touring band, which included her sister Susie and brother Reba McEntire. Determined to take control of her performances, she hired a new manager and started traveling across the country in a 3-car caravan, which included a horse trailer for carrying instruments. As her career progressed, she eventually upgraded to a tour bus, humorously nicknamed Silver Eagle, which frequently broke down during their travels. Despite these hardships, she remained committed to making a name for herself in the industry. That same year, she scored her first top 10 hit with You Lift Me Up to Heaven, a single from her 3rd studio album, Feel the Fire. Her label continued to push her toward a soft country pop sound, a style that Reba wasn't entirely comfortable with. However, she complied with the label's direction, and this led to her 4th studio album, Heart to Heart, in 1981. While the album did chart on the Billboard Country Albums list, reviews were lukewarm, with critics describing her as a promising but not yet fully developed country artist. Still, the album's lead single, Today All Over Again, became her highest charting country song yet, reaching number 5 on the charts. The true breakthrough came in 1983, when Reba's tour bus had broken down on the road. It was during this frustrating moment that she received career-changing news. Her latest single, Can't Even Get the Blues, had reached number 1 on the Billboard Country chart, her first ever chart-topping hit. Shortly after, she followed it up with another number 1 song, You're the First Time I Thought About Leaving, further solidifying her rising status in the industry. Both songs were featured on her 1983 album, Unlimited, which showcased her growing confidence as a performer. By 1984, Reba had scored yet another top 10 hit with Why Do We Want What We Know We Can't Have. With her success steadily increasing, she began to feel constrained by Polygram/Mercury's vision for her music. The label continued to push her toward a polished, mainstream country pop sound that didn't align with her personal style. Feeling that she needed more creative control over her music and career, Reba arranged an early release from her Mercury contract in 1983. Reflecting on her decision, she later stated, "Let me put it this way, I've sort of taken my career into control myself." Reba McEntire's decision to leave Mercury Records in 1983 marked a significant turning point in her career. After years of struggling under a label that pushed her toward a polished, soft country pop sound, she was ready to take charge of her own music. Seeking more creative control, she signed with the MCA Records in 1984, determined to embrace a more traditional country sound that aligned with her artistic vision. Her first album with MCA, Just a Little Love, was produced by Nora Wilson after she rejected Harold Shedd's country pop arrangements. The album did spawn a top 10 hit, but Reba was still dissatisfied with the production, feeling that she lacked real authority over the material. She voiced her concerns to MCA President Jimmy Bowen, who encouraged her to personally select her songs. With the help of Don Dirt Lanier, she spent days listening to hundreds of tracks from various songwriters, determined to find music that truly spoke to her. Eventually, she discovered Somebody Should Leave by Harlan Howard and How Blue by John Moffett. Released as singles, both songs topped the Billboard Country charts, marking the first time Reba had true control over her material. And it paid off. These songs became part of My Kind of Country, her second MCA album released in 1984. Unlike her previous work, the album embraced a neo-traditional country sound, incorporating fiddle, steel guitar, and a raw, emotional delivery that resonated deeply with audiences. The record included several covers of classic country songs from artists like Ray Price, Charlie Pride, and Connie Smith, reinforcing her commitment to bringing traditional country music back into the mainstream. Critics took notice. Billboard magazine praised her as the finest woman country singer since Kitty Wells, while United Press described the album as a major victory, stating that Reba had finally regained control of her music and her life. The album's success led to Reba winning the 1984 Female Vocalist of the Year award from the Country Music Association, a sign that she had firmly established herself as one of country music's leading voices. Building on this success, Reba released Have I Got a Deal for You in 1985, continuing with the traditional country formula that had worked so well for her. This time, she co-produced the album with Jimmy Bowen, further increasing her influence over her own music. The album featured the hit title track and Only in My Mind, a song Reba had written herself, showcasing her growing confidence as a songwriter. That same year, she was invited to perform the national anthem at Game 1 of the 1985 World Series, an honor that solidified her national recognition. By 1986, Reba's career had reached new heights. She released Whoever's in New England, an album that blended traditional country roots with modern production elements, giving her sound a more contemporary edge while still staying true to her storytelling abilities. The title track, a song about a woman suspecting her husband of infidelity, became her first Grammy-winning performance, earning her the Best Female Country Vocal Performance Award. The album also became her first to top the Billboard Country Albums chart and was later certified platinum for selling over 1 million copies. By this point, Reba had fully embraced her status as a country music superstar. Her live shows became more elaborate, incorporating choreography, dramatic lighting, and theatrical elements, elevating her performances beyond traditional country concerts. Later that year, she released What Am I Gonna Do About You, featuring another #1 hit with the title track, followed by One Promise Too Late, which also topped the charts. In 1987, Reba released The Last One to Know, an album deeply influenced by her recent divorce from Charlie Battles. The record reflected her personal struggles, making it one of her most emotionally charged works to date. The title track and Love Will Find Its Way to You both became #1 country singles. That same year, she released her first Christmas album, Merry Christmas to You, and played Carnegie Hall in New York City for the first time, a significant milestone in her career. By the late 1980s, Reba had taken even more control over her career. She fired her manager and formed her own entertainment company, ensuring that her image and music were handled on her own terms. In 1988, she experimented with a pop-influenced sound, releasing the album Reba, which featured covers of Aretha Franklin's Respect and Etta James' A Sunday Kind of Love. While the album still maintained country elements, it showcased her willingness to push creative boundaries. The record produced 2 #1 country singles, New Fool at an Old Game and I Know How He Feels. However, in 1989, she made a return to her neo-traditional roots with the album Sweet 16, which featured classic country instrumentation and a more stripped-down approach. The album produced several hits, including Till Love Comes Again, Little Girl, and Walk On, as well as a cover of the Everly Brothers, Kathy's Clown. That same year, she released her first live album, Reba Live, further showcasing her powerful stage presence. By 1990, Reba had reached an entirely new level of commercial success. She released Rumor Has It, an album that leaned more toward mainstream pop country, helping her cross over into a wider audience. The album became her highest-selling record to date, eventually being certified triple platinum. It featured 4 hit singles, including You Lie and a cover of Bobby Gentry's 1969 song, Fancy. Though initially controversial for its theme of a woman forced into prostitution to escape poverty, Fancy went on to become one of Reba's signature songs, performed at nearly every one of her concerts from that point on. By the dawn of the 1990s, Reba McEntire was no longer just a successful country artist. She was a cultural icon. Her ability to blend traditional storytelling with modern production, combined with her electrifying stage presence, had made her one of the most influential figures in country music. Her determination to control her own sound, her resilience in the face of industry pressure, and her relentless work ethic had not only reshaped her own career, but also helped steer country music itself back toward a more traditional direction. With multiple platinum albums, Grammy Awards, and sold-out tours, she was at the pinnacle of success, and her journey was far from over. On March 16, 1991, tragedy struck when a plane carrying members of Reba McEntire's band crashed near San Diego, California, killing all 8 band members and 2 pilots on board. Reba, who had taken a different flight, was left devastated by the loss. Overwhelmed with grief, she initially struggled to comprehend the tragedy, but ultimately chose to honor her lost colleagues by dedicating her next album, For My Broken Heart, to them. Released in October 1991, For My Broken Heart was deeply personal, filled with songs of sorrow, loss, and resilience that reflected the emotional pain Reba was experiencing. Despite the heavy themes, the album resonated with fans and became a massive success, reaching number 3 on the Billboard Top Country Albums chart. It became her best-selling album at the time, selling over 4 million copies in the United States. Hit singles like For My Broken Heart and Is There Life Out There both topped the Billboard country charts, marking a powerful comeback in her career despite the personal heartbreak she had endured. In 1992, Reba continued her momentum with the release of It's Your Call, an album that showcased her ability to blend traditional country storytelling with contemporary influences. The album reached number 8 on the Billboard 200 and was certified triple platinum. The lead single, The Heart Won't Lie, a duet with Vince Gill, climbed to number 1 on the Billboard Country Songs chart, proving her exceptional chemistry with other artists and reinforcing her dominance in the industry. By 1993, Reba's career reached another milestone with the release of Greatest Hits Volume 2, a compilation album featuring the hit duet Does He Love You with Linda Davis. The song became an instant classic, reaching number 1 on the country charts and earning Reba her second Grammy Award for Best Country Vocal Collaboration. In 1994, she released Read My Mind, an album that solidified her as a commercial and artistic powerhouse. It peaked at number 2 on both the Billboard 200 and the Top Country Albums charts, and produced multiple hit singles including The Heart is a Lonely Hunter and She Thinks His Name Was John. The latter, a groundbreaking song about a woman contracting AIDS, was controversial at the time and only reached the top 20 on the charts, but it demonstrated Reba's willingness to tackle difficult social issues through her music. To celebrate 20 years in music, she released Starting Over, 1995, an album featuring her favorite songs originally recorded by other artists. While the project didn't receive the same level of critical acclaim as her previous works, it still achieved platinum certification within 2 months of release, proving her enduring popularity. The lead single, Ring on Her Finger, Time on Her Hands, became a top 10 hit, but the album overall marked a transitional phase in her career. Determined to return to her signature sound, Reba released What If It's You, 1996, a more contemporary country album that was well received by both fans and critics. The record debuted at number 15 on the Billboard 200 and soon topped the country albums chart. It produced several hit singles, including The Fear of Being Alone, which reached the top 5, and How Was I to Know, which became another number 1 hit for her. This period also saw her forming a strong professional relationship with Brooks and Dunn, touring with the duo throughout the mid-1990s. Their collaboration led to the 1998 hit duet If You See Him, If You See Her, which topped both the U.S. and Canadian country charts. That same year, Reba released If You See Him, 1998, which featured additional top 10 singles like Forever Love and One Honest Heart. The album was a commercial success, proving that she remained at the forefront of country music despite the rise of younger artists. By the late 1990s, Reba continued to push boundaries. In 1999, she released 2 albums, The Secret of Giving, a Christmas collection in September, and So Good Together in November. The latter featured a mix of ballads and contemporary country tracks, producing hits such as What Do You Say and I'll Be. This album once again showcased her ability to balance heartfelt storytelling with mainstream appeal. However, after nearly 25 years in country music, Reba decided to take a temporary step back from music to focus on a new career path, acting. In 2001, Reba made a surprising yet incredibly successful transition into television, starring in the hit sitcom Reba. The show, which aired from 2001 to 2007, introduced her to a whole new audience beyond country music fans. Playing Reba Hart, a single mother navigating life after divorce, she earned a Golden Globe nomination and won over critics with her natural comedic timing. Despite her acting commitments, Reba did not entirely abandon music. In 2001, she released the song I'm a Survivor, which became a top 5 country hit and was later chosen as the theme song for her sitcom. After a brief break from the recording studio, she made a triumphant return to country music in 2003 with the release of Room to Breathe. The album debuted at number 4 on the Billboard Country chart and was later certified platinum. It produced her first number 1 song in 6 years, Somebody, reaffirming that Reba was still a dominant force in country music. In 2007, she released Reba Duets, an album featuring collaborations with Kenny Chesney, LeAnn Rimes, Trisha Yearwood, Carole King, Justin Timberlake, and Kelly Clarkson. The album was a huge success, debuting at number 1 on both the Billboard Country and Billboard 200 charts, marking the first time she topped the all-genre album chart. The single Because of You, a duet with Kelly Clarkson, became one of her biggest crossover hits, reaching number 2 on the U.S. country charts and number 1 in Canada. In 2008, after 25 years with MCA Records, Reba made the bold decision to switch labels, signing with Valerie Music Group, a division of Big Machine Records. This move reunited her with Scott Borchetta, an executive she had worked with in the past. The switch proved to be a smart one, as her first single with Valerie, Strange, 2009, debuted at number 39 on the Billboard Country Songs chart, the highest debut of her career at the time. Later that year, she released Keep On Loving You, 2009, which debuted at number 1 on both the Billboard 200 and country album charts. The album featured Consider Me Gone, which became her 24th number 1 hit, making her one of the oldest female artists to top the country chart at the time. Reba continued her chart dominance into the 2000s with the release of All the Women I Am, 2010. The album featured Turn on the Radio, which became her 24th number 1 country hit. She embarked on the All the Women I Am tour, which featured the band Perry, Steel Magnolia, and Eden's Edge as opening acts. In 2014, Reba signed with Big Machine's Nash Icon label, which focused on veteran country artists. Her first Nash Icon release was Love Somebody, 2015, featuring the hit Going Out Like That, which reached the top 25 on the Billboard country charts. The album topped the country albums chart and was a top 5 album on the Billboard 200, proving that she was still relevant in a changing industry. In 2017, she released her first gospel album, Sing It Now, Songs of Faith and Hope, which won her first Grammy in over 20 years for Best Roots Gospel Album. The album was deeply personal and included collaborations with Kelly Clarkson, Trisha Yearwood, and Vince Gill. She continued receiving major honors, including being named a Kennedy Center honoree in 2018, alongside Cher, Philip Glass, and Wayne Shorter. In 2020, Reba made headlines by returning to MCA Nashville, the label she had left in 2008. That same year, she co-hosted the CMA Awards with Darius Rucker, marking yet another milestone in her legendary career. In 2022, she launched the Reba Live in Concert Tour, which included a sold-out show at Madison Square Garden, proving her continued drawing power as a live performer. In 2024, Reba was invited to sing the national anthem at Super Bowl 58, accompanied by deaf actor Daniel Durant performing in American Sign Language. This high-profile performance showcased her lasting impact on American culture and entertainment. Throughout her legendary career, Reba McEntire's personal life has been shaped by love, family, heartbreak, and resilience, mirroring the themes of her music. Raised in a tight-knit rodeo family, Reba has always maintained a deep connection with her siblings, who have also pursued careers in music. Her brother Paik McEntire briefly worked in country music before returning to Oklahoma to run his 1,000-acre ranch and compete in rodeo events. Meanwhile, her sister Susie McEntire Eaton found success as a Christian music singer, traveling the country with her husband to perform and speak at religious events. Her older sister Alice Foran, a retired social worker, has remained in Lane, Oklahoma, while her niece Calamity McEntire has built a successful career as associate head coach for the University of Illinois women's basketball team. Faith has played an essential role in Reba's life, helping her navigate both professional and personal challenges. She is a devout Christian and has often spoken about how her faith in God has guided her through difficult times, including personal heartbreak and the tragic loss of her band members in 1991. Reba has experienced 2 major marriages and divorces, both of which had a profound impact on her life. In 1976, she married Charlie Battles, a steer wrestling champion and rancher who was 10 years older than her and had 2 sons from his previous marriage. The couple lived together on a ranch in Oklahoma, balancing Reba's rising music career with ranch life. However, as her career soared in the 1980s, tensions grew in their marriage. Reba's increasing success and the demands of her career eventually led to their divorce in 1987. After their split, she made the life-changing decision to move to Nashville, fully dedicating herself to her music career. In 1989, Reba found love again, this time with her manager and former steel guitar player, Narvel Blackstock. Their relationship was both personal and professional, as they not only married but also took full control of her career by founding Starstruck Entertainment, a management company dedicated to overseeing her business ventures. Their wedding was an intimate ceremony on a boat at Lake Tahoe, away from the public eye. From this marriage, Reba gained 3 stepchildren, Chastity, Shauna, and Brandon Blackstock, whom she has always considered her own. In 1990, she and Narvel welcomed their only child together, Shelby Stephen McEntire Blackstock, who would later become a race car driver. For over 25 years, Reba and Narvel were one of the most powerful couples in country music, building an entertainment empire together. However, in 2015, after years of marriage, the couple announced their separation, and later that year, their divorce was finalized. Reba admitted that the breakup was not her choice, and that the divorce was one of the hardest moments of her life. Despite the painful split, she has remained extremely close to her stepchildren, continuing to be a loving grandmother to their children. Her stepson, Brandon Blackstock, married pop superstar Kelly Clarkson in 2013, and Reba was thrilled to welcome Kelly into the family. She described their relationship as a dream come true, stating, "Who could ask for more than having your friend as your daughter-in-law?" However, Brandon and Kelly's highly publicized divorce in 2022 put a strain on family dynamics, though Reba has largely stayed out of the conflict, maintaining her love and support for both sides. After her divorce from Narvel, Reba focused on healing, self-discovery, and finding love again. In 2017, she began dating photographer Anthony Skeeter Lasuzzo, whom she met through her friend, Kix Brooks. Their romance was filled with adventures, travel, and deep conversations, and Reba spoke openly about how happy she was. However, after 2 years together, they amicably parted ways in late 2019. By 2020, love found Reba once again, this time in the form of actor Rex Linn. Their story was one of fate and second chances. The two had originally met in 1991 on the set of The Gambler Returns, The Luck of the Draw, but their connection was brief at the time. Nearly 30 years later, they reconnected in 2020, and their relationship quickly blossomed. Reba often refers to Rex as her sugar tot, and their romance has been filled with laughter, shared passions, and unwavering support for each other's careers. Reba McEntire's career has spanned nearly 5 decades, with over 75 million records sold, numerous Grammy Awards, legendary acting roles, and sold-out tours worldwide. She has successfully evolved with the times while staying true to her traditional country roots. Whether through music, acting, business ventures, or philanthropy, she remains an icon of resilience, authenticity, and incredible talent. From a small-town girl from Oklahoma to one of the most influential women in country music, Reba McEntire's story is one of hard work, passion, and perseverance. Even after all these years, she continues to inspire generations of artists and fans, proving that true legends never fade, they only shine brighter.